know what? I'm glad I waited to do this video. The reason? Because my opinion on a few teams have changed drastically from when I first even started thinking about this. And I'm glad I've waited till now to where we're 5 weeks before the playoffs to talk about who's in contention and who should just be getting ready for the NFL draft. What's going on, guys? Dick's Report here, back to another video. Today we're talking about what is going on in the AFC Playoff Picture. I'm going to go by division like I normally do, starting with the East, ending with the West, and I don't think I should waste any more time. Let's start with what's going on in the East and the already division champs, Buffalo Bills. It's crazy how Buffalo, before December, has already clinched the division, but it's the truth. That's exactly what happened. Buffalo has clinched the AFC East. Now, they are still in contention for the #1 seed because they don't have it. The Chiefs do. And the Chiefs have 1 loss, the Bills have 2. But who was the Chiefs' only loss to? That's right, the Bills. So if the Bills can win the rest of their games and the Chiefs lose one more time, the Bills get the #1 seed. And that's going to be big for this team because remember, there's only one team that gets a first-round bye between the two conferences. And Buffalo wants to be that team. They want to get that #1 seed, have the bye, and have a guaranteed home AFC Championship matchup if they get there. As for the other teams, for Miami, they are still in it for a wildcard spot, but they would have to win the rest of their games and hope that somebody falters along the way. It's possible, not likely, but it's still possible. But in order to do that, they have to get over their December woes of the past. They have to find a way to win in December and win consistently, and they might be able to get into the playoffs. And as for the Jets and the Patriots, well, Patriots are on a bye. They've won 3 games, lost 10. The Jets, they've won 3 games, have lost 9. I don't think I need to say any more, do I? The only difference is the Jets could be quarterback hunting, while the Patriots, well, it looks like they have their quarterback in Drake May. Now they have to build around him. In the AFC North, it's a battle between Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Now, Pittsburgh has a 1.5 game lead over the Ravens right now. This game against the Browns is going to be big because if they can win while Baltimore's on a bye, they have a 2-game lead with 4 to go, and they play the Ravens in the near future, which, if they win that game, that could be what clinches the division for them. As for the Ravens, they're all but guaranteed at least a wildcard spot if they can just win 3 of their last 4. They can win 3 of their last 4, it's almost guaranteed that they're going to be in the playoffs. But they have a lot to work on and to make sure that they are still together coming off their bye. Because that game against Philadelphia, it wasn't good. The game against the Steelers, the offense was downright awful. They have got to figure out what is going on right now because the offense the last 3 games has not been consistent, and they've had consistency issues with the offense for most of this season. And the defense, they are just now starting to come together. You have to hope that that continues. And going back to the Steelers, I mean, the offense has been playing well. All right, let's face it, their offense has been playing well for most of the season, no matter who the starting quarterback is. And the defense is still amazing. So Pittsburgh, I would have to guess that they would be the ones to win the AFC North. Baltimore, more than likely, is going to get a wild card spot. But meanwhile, the Browns and the Bengals could play spoiler for either one of those teams. As I mentioned, the Browns play the Steelers, and then the last game of the season, they play the Ravens. Could they play spoiler for one of those 2 teams? As for the Bengals, they've already played the Ravens twice, but they play the Steelers the final week of the season. If it's going to come down between who wins in Week 18, could the Bengals be the ones that play spoiler to the Steelers in winning this division? Something to look out for. Now, for the Bengals, they need help on defense. It's that simple. Get defensive help and figure out what you're going to do with T. Higgins. If you're going to sign him long-term or not, or are you just going to let him walk and hope that somebody steps up? And for the love of God, don't play around with Jamar Chase. Just sign him. Just sign him. Now, as for the Browns, what are you going to do with Deshaun Watson and that fully guaranteed contract of his? Seriously, what can you do with him? I don't know what the plan's going to be at quarterback going forward because I don't know if you can continue going with Deshaun Watson even with that big contract. What do you do? AFC South, it seems like it is the Texans to lose, but Indianapolis is creeping up right behind them. Indianapolis, I've said it, they played really good, and then they've played really bad. Anthony Richardson has taken over as a starter again, and he's made some plays, but he's still not consistent. He has to get more consistent if the Colts want to at least get a wild card spot. They are right behind the Broncos right now. If they want to jump them for that 7th seed, they have to find a way to be more consistent. And as for the Texans, I've said this before, just don't falter like Jacksonville and Tennessee has done the last 2 years in winning this division. Just get this division and don't even worry about anything else other than getting this division and hoping that you can do well in the playoffs. Unfortunately, Houston has taken a big step back, but if they can at least win this division, anything goes in the playoffs. We know that. Meanwhile, Tennessee and Jacksonville. For Tennessee, what are they going to do with Will Levis? Do they keep him? Do they go with a quarterback? Or getting a quarterback in the offseason? I don't know. Me and Jacksonville, I never thought I would see them being in contention for the #1 overall pick so soon after winning the division 2 years ago. I just did not see that coming, or maybe I should have seen that coming. I don't know, but this is just not good for Jacksonville right now. They need to figure out what they need to do to get this team back to the playoffs. In the West, the Raiders are the only team that's not in contention for the playoffs, so let me just talk about them real quick. I think the biggest thing for them is going to be, what do they do at quarterback? Are they going to try to go with Aiden O'Connell again? Are they going to try to sign a veteran? Do they want to draft somebody? That's going to be the big question for them in the offseason. What to do at the quarterback position. Now, for the other three, Denver and Bo Nix have just been playing very good football the last, I want to say, 2 months. I mean, Bo Nix has gotten better and better as the season has gone on, and that's exactly what you want to see from a rookie quarterback. He's getting better, and Denver, if they keep playing the way that they had been the last few months, they are going to the playoffs. But they cannot falter because Indianapolis is right behind them, and the Dolphins are behind them as well, but the Dolphins need to work on their own issues. I talked about that. But Indianapolis, they could steal that wild card spot right from under them if they falter a little bit. Now the Chargers, man, Jim Harbaugh has got this Charger team on the right path. Now, it's unfortunate that J.K. Dobbins suffered another injury. However, they've got to move on. They've got to keep playing the games. That's what's important right now. And for L.A., if they did not have to deal with the Chiefs in their division, they would be in contention for any one of these other divisions, except for maybe the East, but definitely in the North and in the South as well. But man, Jim Harbaugh has got this team playing very good football right now. Now as for the Chiefs, look, I've said it before, they might be the worst 11-1 team in NFL history, but at the same time, they are 11-1. They have the #1 seed. And as we saw last year, the Chiefs struggled in the regular season, and yet once the playoffs came around, they were at the top of their game, got to the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl. Now they have a chance to three-peat, and really they are probably still the favorites to win the Super Bowl at this point. Just because we know their track record, and we know once the playoffs start, it's anybody's game at that point. But for the Chiefs, I feel like they have to get that #1 seed. I feel like they have to just have that week off to where they can just study, get right, and make sure that they are ready to go and have one fewer game that they have to win in the playoffs. Because as I know, teams that often win like they have been winning in a year, it doesn't end quite well for them. But then again, we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, so who knows? But at this point, who do I think is going to the playoffs? I think the playoff standings are just going to be where they are right now. The Chiefs #1, Bills #2, Steelers #3, Texans #4, Chargers #5, Ravens #6, and Denver #7. That's how I think this is going to end up going when it comes to the playoffs in the AFC. But we have to see what happens. The games still have to be played, and in December, we see big stars come alive, but we also see teams falter. Alright guys, those are my thoughts on the AFC Playoff Picture. We're going to talk about the NFC Playoff Picture as well. And I'll see you guys for that video.